Hey all, here's Andreas Kisser from Sepultura, and you're listening to The Jet on Metal Messiah Radio. Enjoy.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have with us as our guest, Andreas Kisser of Sepultura. Welcome to the show, Andreas.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Andreas, really quick, just to give us a little idea, how old were you when you first started playing guitar, and what was some of the first music you were playing?
Wow. I started with acoustic guitar in Brazil, because I wanted to play Stairway to Heaven. That was my goal. and I started, learning just like basic chords. And before I started learning, I learned Stairway to Heaven, just basic Brazilian popular music, And of course, listening to rock and heavy metal. I bought an electric guitar. My mom bought the electric guitar after I was like a pain in the ass, because I wanted the guitar and stuff. And I was kind of like 13, 14 years old maybe when I started, something like that. Was not that young actually. A lot of other friends of mine, they were already playing an instrument, especially piano. It was very popular in Brazil that youngsters starting to play piano. But during those days, I thought piano was a women's instrument, which is totally imbecile for my part. And I regret so much not to have, any idea of piano now because of that stupid, concept. But anyway, the guitar came to my life, and since then, it never left, So I started around 13, 14 years old, basically.
At what point in your life did you want to make, playing music your career, Andreas?
In school, actually, it started with friends in school. We have the same passion for, Maiden and, Black Sabbath and all those bands, And a few people listen to that music, especially, early Metallica and Slayer, that kind of stuff that only came in cassette tapes, very obscure, bad recordings and stuff. But we love it, That's what we got, in Brazil to listen to everything and stuff. And in school, when I started forming my first band, really, we played in the science fair that you have in school, that you
Sure.
do the volcano and all that stuff, We did a heavy metal work in our school. And in retrospective, we were very much doing a scientific, thing, because we were talking about Metallica and Slayer and the Big Four and all that way before they were popular in the world. Metallica is the biggest band in the world today, So we were really on the right track, I guess, to talk about this new thing that really changed the music business, And because of them, I am a musician, basically, to do thrash metal or that style of music that Sepultura created, inspired by those bands and those musicians, So it was my first science fair that I felt that I played with my two other friends, We did as a trio, and we played Twisted Sister, we played Metallica, we played, Def Leppard, Judas Priest, Kiss, whatever, And it was so much fun, and I had a great time, And I never stopped, basically. I changed my partners and stuff, but, here I am.
What was the first concert that you went to that you were really wowed by, Andreas?
Yeah, I saw a few concerts before. I saw this big one that changed my life, which was Kiss, and the Creatures of the Night Tour, 1983, in a big stadium in São Paulo, Morumbi Stadium. Kiss came down to Brazil to play São Paulo and Rio, and the Maracanã Stadium, but I'm from São Paulo, so I went to the other stadium in São Paulo. It really changed my life, to experience Kiss live. Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent was on the guitar, and all the pyro and fire and stuff. It was fantastic. The Tank, was the last tour that Kiss did with the makeup before they changed everything and did Lick It Up and all that. And after that, really, I was sure that it was about the same time of the science fair. It happened about the same time, and was sure I wanted to be a musician, you know. So Kiss was the big guidance, you know, to follow the path.
So tell us a little bit about the first time that you were up on stage playing a really big show.
Wow, I think was actually a Dynamo Fest in 1990. We were on our second tour because we played with Sodom in '89, but you know, it was like the winter tour was inside. You know, closed places and stuff. And we played big shows, but not like a big festival like the Dynamo. You know, we played for, I don't know, 30,000, 40,000 people. That Angel was headliner, and Trouble, and Sacred Reich was there, and many other bands, you know. And was our first big outdoor festival was there, you know, 90, in Dynamo Fest in Eindhoven, Holland. And after that, a few months later, in January '91, we were at the Rock in Rio stage, you know, playing in our home in Rio at the Maracanã Stadium, where Kiss played in 1983. I was there playing with Sepultura, opening the Heavy Metal Day, with Guns N' Roses and Megadeth and Queensryche and Judas Priest, you know. It was amazing, but I think it was great we had the experience to play at the Dynamo first, you know, because we had many problems at Dynamo, you know, we were so nervous and stuff. I mean, and then at Rock in Rio, I think we were a little more prepared, you know, to face such an amazing crowd. And we were home as well, you know. We played with our friends, for our friends and family and stuff. It was a different kind of situation. But the Dynamo Fest really helped us really to you know, to feel that first impression of being on stage in such a great festival. It was amazing.
So just to back up a little bit, tell us about joining up with Sepultura back in the day.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I had a band in São Paulo. Sepultura is from Belo Horizonte. It's a different town, like 8-9 hours driving, you know, away, you know, from each other. And I had this band from school, like I said, you know, and we were developing a heavier sound, you know, more influenced by Creator, Destruction, and, you know, Halloween, Slayer, and all that stuff, you know. And but my partners, you know, my musicians, they didn't want to follow the career, you know. They have other plans. One wanted to work with his dad in a big enterprise and stuff. They were, you know, wealthy and stuff. They didn't want to follow that, you know. So, and then when I met the Sepultura guys, you know, they came to São Paulo together with the other band Mutilator. They were about to perform in my hometown. And I went to see them, and I met Max and Igor for the first time. And soon, after a month or two, I was in Belo Horizonte, which their hometown, Sepultura hometown, you know, just to go there for vacation, you know. I mean, just to visit them and then to see them practice and stuff. And then I played a little bit with Igor. We played some Creator, some Slayer. And the chemistry was instant, you know, was really there. And a few weeks later, Jairo, their guitar player, left. And I didn't have a band in São Paulo. And, you know, I mean, they wanted a guitar player. And the impression was really good that I have with Sepultura and them with me, you know. So we decided to join forces. And I moved to their hometown. And Schizophrenia was recorded soon after, you know.
Well, tonight we're here to talk about your new album, Quadra. And, you know, reading some of what you had mentioned in the bio, you had mentioned that you felt the urge to revisit that old thrash feeling of Beneath the Remains or Arise. Both of these huge fan favorite albums. So what brought on this urge to revisit those eras of albums, Andreas?
Yeah, it's only one part of the whole process, you know. I mean, I divided the album in 4 parts, you know, because numbers and numerology was the starting point of everything, you know, algorithms, which is so in vogue today, you know, like through social media and everything, and how we receive our information and etc. That was the starting point, you know. And I found this book, Quadrivium. Quadrivium talks about the 4 liberal arts, mathematics, cosmology, geometry, and music. And the number 4, you know, number 4 is everywhere in our culture. Number 4, according to the quadrivium is the momentum of manifestation, where things happen. It is another definition of the present, of the now, of the kairos, which the subject we touched before, So that was the starting point of everything. So dividing the album by 4 was like a double vinyl release, You have side A, B, C, and D. And side A, yes, was that driven urge to go back to the trash and to the Rise, Beneath the Remains era, to represent more of that era or style of Sepultura, let's say, But side B was more connected to our groovier side, the percussion, Chaos AD, Roots, Against, the Nation, all that stuff, that especially after Roots, that we kind of embrace all the percussive instruments as our own element, like guitars, bass, and drums. Percussion is a part of Sepultura's music, And side 3 was more connected and influenced by the instrumental world of Sepultura, like the Abyss, Inquisition Symphony, and Itzari, and especially Iceberg Dances for our last album. So that side of the album was more inspired by that, to explore more of our musicianship and acoustic guitars and all that stuff, And side D was more of the other part of Sepultura used a lot, especially when we record Angel by Massive Attack on Revel Songs, and the song Machine Messiah that opens the album Machine Messiah, we were more influenced by that, So there's a little bit of everything that Sepultura did, and not only, the parts of the Trash and the Remains era, because we didn't want to do the whole album like that, We just like to represent at least every little thing that we did before, plus, of course, the new things we bring, with Quadra.
Now, did you do anything differently on this album as far as the writing and recording process goes that you haven't done in previous albums?
Not really. I mean, the last 3 albums, basically, especially when Eloy joined the band, we kind of created this formula, which where me and him, we started at the early stages of writing, exchanging ideas and guitar riffs and drum loops and stuff like that, and that's what we did on the Mediator and the Machine Messiah and on Quadra now, and then later we developed the stuff on practice, on the practice room, on the rehearsal room with Derek and Paulo, putting giving their input and stuff, and of course on the later stage with Jens on the studio, but not really changed. I mean, that's the way we wrote on the last 3. Before it was more me and Max, starting everything with the guitar ideas and concepts and everything. Igor, of course, came with his drumming and etc. When Max left, it was more me and Igor musically, and then me and Derek lyrically. And now Derek took control of all the words and all the lyrics. He found really a really good way of expressing and finding the right words, for him and stuff. And it's much better for him to express the way he likes to express instead of me writing lyrics for him, the way I used to do, So now we found this way. Me, Eloy first, and then Paulo and Derek come in a later stage, and then Jens, complete everything at the studio.
Now, were there any challenges in writing this album, or did everything go pretty smoothly?
Lots of challenges. I mean, it was one of the difficult albums to record, because very demanding. We really wanted to explore our musicianship and really try more difficult stuff and, mess around with tempos and etc. Really challenge ourselves to be better, to do stuff that we basically thought we wouldn't be possible to do, So, but it was a lot of fun, Difficult doesn't mean that was painful and miserable, It was great, It's a whole learning process. And once you're creating something new, it's very exciting, to listen step by step. And then on mixing and mastering, you hear everything done and perfect, It's an amazing process, But it was very demanding. But we were prepared for it, We really took our time in Brazil to prepare as much as we could to do the pre-production and to make sure every song has a really defined, direction and goal to achieve and stuff. And like I said, it was a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. It was great.
Now, how did you approach this album musically in writing your guitar parts, Andreas?
I really took time, especially for leads and stuff, really to develop something special and really work on it and practice a lot and having my guitar more with me. I practice acoustic guitar all the time, classical guitar and stuff, but the guitar lately has been more, spending more time with the electric guitar and really developing, to be better, really, to grow up as a musician and stuff. And like I said, having a partner like Eloy Casagrande really helps, because we challenge each other, basically, well, I'm going to write this, I doubt he's going to do something. And then he does better, and then he brings back, and I have to do better, So it's really exciting, it's really great. I mean, we really help each other really to grow as musicians and stuff. And this the writing is a consequence of that, that feeling of really spending more time with my guitar and having this challenge with Eloy, which it's fantastic. It's great.
Now, did you have any guests on this album?
Yes, we have one female singer that is doing some vocals on the last song of the album. And she's an amazing singer. Her name is Emily Barreto. And she's from a band called Far From Alaska, which is not metal at all. It's very alternative band, and they're very creative. There's an amazing band. It's a fantastic band. And, we finally met, and we were doing the pre-production, and I invited her to be a part of the song, and it was great. She did an amazing job. She helped us really to find a direction for the song. It was one of the last songs that we were working on it. It was kind of lost, with no voice and no specific direction. But once she came in, really, we found that direction. It was great, Of course, we have the choirs and the orchestras and stuff, that were a part of the album. They are also guests, on the album. But the main guest really is Emily, which is a singer on the last song.
So tell us a little bit about the cover art and the artist.
Yeah, the cover art was done by this artist in Brazil called Cristiano Machado. Mm-hmm. The idea was to have this coin, forged, and take a picture. The idea was to take a picture of the actual coin, forged. Cristiano was there only to do the design for us to make the coin. But, the process was very bureaucratic, was very expensive as well, so we decided to keep the design because it was perfect already. He did such a great job that we decided to keep his design the way it was, So, and the idea was really to represent the money, money, the coin is something that we enslaved by, which is something totally illusional. And that's the idea, to represent this idea of Quadra, these concepts and sets of rules that we have, that we grew up, to represent this prime rule of living, which is money. We need money to be born. We need money to die, and everything in between. So that's why the coin there, and the guy did an awesome job. It almost looks like the real thing. It's great.
Now, how is this album going to be released? What formats are you releasing this on?
Yeah, I think all formats possible, vinyl with all different colors and styles, CD, digipack, and this yearbook format, which will bring not only the CD, but some extra songs we recorded live on the 30-year anniversary tour in São Paulo, Brazil, and the documentary as well. So Sepultura Endurance is going to be a part of this yearbook package, which is great, because we didn't have the chance to put on Netflix here in Europe or to the States as well, So it's a good opportunity for everyone to have the chance to see the documentary, as well.
Oh, that's cool. So what does the touring schedule look like for the band this year? I know in March you're embarking on your North American tour, right?
Yes, perfect. Yes. We got to do it Sacred Reich and Crowbar and Art of Shock during March and April. Very happy with this package, touring with our friends again after so long, it would be great. We have a bunch of festivals in Europe already announced during June and July. And the idea, of course, maybe go to Asia, Japan in September. And at the end of the year, do a headline tour in Europe. And then, of course, South America, 2021, and etc. Maybe come back to America with a different package, who knows. But the idea is really to tour as much as we can, you know.
And Andreas, if people want to learn more about the band, what are some of the best websites that they could go to follow the band, see when your tours are, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have our official website, sepultura.com.br, and our Facebook page as well, you know. During those outlets, you can see our own, you know, personal Instagram and Twitter addresses and stuff. Everything's there, discography and everything.
All right, well, there you have it. Sepultura have a new album coming out February 7th on Nuclear Blast Records called Quadra. You can follow them on their website. And Andreas, thank you for taking the time to come on the show, and all the best to you and the band.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the space that you do give to Sepultura, and hopefully see you all on the road pretty soon. Thank you.